So I have not invited anyone to introduce me because I don't have that much to say. But there are some important things that I have to say, so let's just get to that. And the first thing is how great the Signal Arts Center is for being here, you know, giving people like me an opportunity to have an exhibit like this, and how great it is for the community. And this is my first experience, you know, working with the gallery, and I must say, they've been outstanding in every way, you know, helping me get set up in here and promoted and all that good stuff. So I am just happy as can be to be here. Now, after that, I want to thank you for being here. It's great to see you all. So a couple of questions that come up frequently are, you know, how did I get here? How did I get to be doing this stuff? And maybe, you know, what happens in the future as well. And the first question is kind of long and roundabout, but one thing leads to another. And it's been decades of one thing leading to another that got me to, first of all, the way that I work, which is, from what I understand, pretty unusual. I never think about these things. You just get up in the morning, you go off to work and you make stuff, and you never know what's going on around you until an event like this. But it's been consistently one thing after another, always looking for something new and interesting to get myself into, and working out the problem of how to do it successfully. Now, 3 years ago, I wasn't doing anything that looked like this. It was something else altogether. But you know how things go. I woke up one day and I said, gee, I haven't worked much with textures, and started experimenting with that. And it turned out to be a lot of fun, and I kept working that way. And then it also occurred to me that this really coincides with what's happening in the world today, which is climate degradation, which is an extremely serious problem. And like yourselves, this stuff reminds me of coral reefs, and it was an opportunity to sort of elevate that to the public through an exhibition like this. So it became an easy choice. So that's how I got to this particular point. And I'm going to work it further, but eventually, of course, it will change into something else. There's great problems that are going on with the climate, and since the imagery is compatible with, you know, a lot of plant life, I can see myself, you know, continuing this way for some time. That's about it. Unless you have questions, so I don't have much else to say about it.
What's your process for making these?
Okay. Thanks. That's a big question. Years ago, I started working with big paintbrushes. And so it gave me an opportunity to make stuff on surfaces that were different from what you typically learn at art school. When I went to art school, the first thing I did was reject everything that other people were doing. I wouldn't do it that way. It, you know, it was a challenge, but it was also so much more fun, you know, to just go off and start doing stuff on your own. And the experience of trying and failing was worth more than anything. Because when you find something that really works, it, well, it's very satisfying, but also it leads to a future that you wouldn't have imagined. So I'm always messing around with things like that. So I had big paintbrushes. I didn't like working with oil paint, so everything was acrylic paint. And you work with acrylic paint, you work with water. So that opens up new possibilities, but it also closes down a lot of other stuff as well. So it became more focused, you know, with the materials that I was using. For a while, I was working with commercial papers, and so I had all that stuff laying around in the studio. And by commercial papers, I mean coated stock, which works differently. It's not fine art paper, it's just regular printing paper. So I had a lot of that, and that works in a different way than watercolor paper. And so it allowed me to have different effects, which appeal to me, you know, and it, you know, it brings out the color a little bit better. I also work with watercolor paper, but that does something else again. So it was a combination of that. And every time I started using something new, I had to think about it in a different way. And other problems came up, like shiny surfaces, you know, technical stuff. But in the process of working out the technical stuff, the aesthetic stuff became important as well, you know. That's how it went, you know. So it kind of got me to this point. And, you know, then cutting out shapes, well, that's kind of new. But, you know, once I started working on paper, that became a possibility. If I was not working on paper, I wouldn't be able to do that. So kind of the way you work with the materials kind of drives you to a particular imagery in the end. And, you know, I'm happy for that. So when I go into my studio, I'm as happy as can be. You know, because I can go in there, I can do anything, and if it comes up bad, so what? You know? But often enough, it comes out okay. So, you know, eventually we start putting things together. And you can see that, you know, these are compositions. So I start, you know, making bits and pieces, and then composing them, and putting them together, and then deciding on things like the three-dimensional aspects of it, you know, which brings something else into play altogether. So it's been a while, and it's evolved. And I've been pretty hard on myself. I've thrown away a lot of stuff, but it's okay.
How long has it taken to get all this together?
All of it together, that's a good question. 15 years. But no, this particular group, you know, maybe a couple of years.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it's taken a long time to just weed out other things and to focus on a narrower range of possibilities, let's say. So that's it. Anyways, thanks for being here.
Well, it's brilliant.
Yeah, well, thanks. Very nice.